Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another edition of Alhamdulillah, it's Jummah. My name is Zahra Zakariya and my co-presenters for today are Oyinkansola.
Assalamu alaikum.
Qowiyah.
Assalamu alaikum.
And we have a wonderful guest with us today. Her name is Faridah.
Assalamu alaikum.
She is the owner of Sari Herbal Living, a handcrafted herbal tea company. We're so excited to have you on set today.
I'm so excited to be here.
Alhamdulillah. So, our topic for today is thinking outside of the box in business. And before we jump into the topic, here is our Jummah gem.
Today's Jummah gem is follow Allah, not your desires. There are many times we know what we should do, and we have great reasons why, but we stop ourselves simply because we don't feel like it. But by following our emotions instead of doing what's better for us in the long run, we are at risk of worshipping our desires instead of Allah. After all, we'll follow what we worship, be committed and dedicated to your highest sense of purpose, regardless of where your emotions are. Let me share a verse from Surah Al-Muhammad, Quran 47, verse 14. So is he who is on clear evidence from his Lord, like him to whom the evil of his work has been made attractive, and they follow their own desires.
Profound. Profound. Ameen. And this just tells us that many times things that are beneficial to us won't feel good. And it's okay. We have to push ourselves. So perhaps a thing is good for you, but you just do not like it. But go ahead. Do it. I feel this is the message we should take from Jummah Gems today.
Thank you for that, Qowiyah.
Thank you.
This year, 2 lucky contestants won an all-expense-paid trip to Hajj. We have great news. You can be a part of the HAL TV Africa Hajj Quest 2020. We are searching for contestants, sponsors, partners, and show hosts. All you have to do is send us an email, hajjquest@haltvafrica.com. The quest for Hajj is on.
So let's jump into our topic of today, thinking outside of the box in business. And I'm really excited to have Faridah here because you run a very unique business, Sari Herbal Living. Can you tell us a bit more about what inspired this business and why exactly you went into it in the first instance?
Okay, so I've had this long-standing interest in agribusiness, and it's more from a socio-economic perspective than anything. Just having seen the history of Nigeria and African countries in general with agriculture and how that had declined over time. So I've always been sort of attracted to the industry because I wanted to just have some sort of positive influence there and see how we can rebuild our economy through that. So that led me to study agribusiness management at the Lagos Business School. It was a short program, a short course that I did. And in the process of that, we had to develop a business plan. And just trying to, it was a while, I couldn't really figure out what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to do basic like cash crops or things that people are used to seeing in the agri space. And we had one class about marketing, and someone made a suggestion, one of the teachers made a suggestion about herbal teas. And I thought about the fact that I use natural products in general for my hair, for my skin, everything I use, I try to be as natural as possible. And it just seemed like a reasonable fit. So I started exploring a bit more, what are the herbs that we have locally? What are herbs we even have across Africa? Because I'm a Pan-Africanist. So I'm very interested in integrating African countries in that way. And I found that, we have a lot of herbs that are almost like it's low-hanging fruits. People use them, but no one has kind of put them together, been more deliberate about formulating them for consumers.
So would you say you are the first Muslim woman to go into this space?
In Nigeria.
In Nigeria that I've observed?
Yes.
That I have observed. I wouldn't say actually that I'm the first, Because I know that there are some people that have made small formulations here and there. I have seen people sell maybe on Instagram some teas and things, but they don't have as much of a focus on locally grown herbs or being branded as particularly African. So some of their inputs will still come from like Southeast Asia, China, which are places that already dominate the tea markets. But so I wouldn't say I'm the very first, because I've noticed in the north, especially, you have a few people that do some
but you're
similar
doing yours
things
differently.
Yes,
and this
but
is
I'm
what we're
more-
talking about, thinking
exactly.
outside the box in business. So
I think, sorry.
yeah, no, go on.
So I think something that makes Sari stand out is something as simple as the packaging. Like, look how cute this is.
Thank you.
You know, a lot of people go into, so I know, for instance, people who sell shea butter, ori, and if you look at the way that they package it, or coconut oil, these are things that we have in abundance, but how are you branding it? How are you presenting it? How are you packaging it? If you, just because you're seeing someone else going natural and, you know, making black soap, how can you make yourself stand out from the crowd? You know, pay extra attention to the details, the branding, the marketing, the message behind it. I think that that's something that makes Sari stand out, and something that, you know, our viewers out there can also think about when they are going into
Business?
business.
Bringing it back to the common businesses, well, Muslim women, so let's just bring it down to Muslim women. Common businesses Muslim women start.
Yeah.
Off the top of your head.
Fashion designer.
Fashion, you know,
Selling hijabs.
Fashion. The new one is modeling. Everyone wants to go into
Makeup
fashion
artists.
blogging. So it's just within the fashion industry. And now we want to tell the viewers at home, there's so many industries where you can flourish.
Yes.
And we identified what? IT,
IT tech,
agriculture, and manufacturing, not just buying and selling retail. No.
Yeah.
So manufacturing, and like she said, you need to tap into your creativity.
Yes.
You don't
you
just
can't
say
copy and paste.
Yeah,
You can't just see other
exactly.
people doing it and think, oh, I can also do it. Not that you can't do it, but what is driving it? You know, what's the purpose? What's the vision? Is it just about making money? Because I think that's where a lot of people are going wrong.
So what I feel is, ideas can be copied, but a lot of people don't think about that. They only want to like go into the money-making aspect. But what they didn't know is that the vision, concept, and the development plans, you don't know, like for me to have a business idea, you don't know my skilled team, you don't know the people that are behind the scenes. So you just can't go ahead like to copy my business and use it for it. So as a young entrepreneur, like as a young person that I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to go into business, what kind of business idea that's going to be unique, that's not going to be oversaturated? What kind of business do you think I can go to that will make me different?
So I think the most important thing is to figure out your purpose with what you want to do. Because if you hear, you've heard me talk about my story, it didn't start with tea, it started with agribusiness. And the purpose, so I always say, the purpose behind my business, it has to do with Africans and the lives of Africans. So I think people need to broaden their understanding of what their purpose is as a Muslim. I think that's what drives a lot of people into modest fashion, which I have to say is like a very noble thing to do, is try and, you know, give Muslim women more options in terms of how they appear. But you also need to broaden that scope of purpose and think, okay, what are other ways that I can, you know, fulfill that?
And another thing that we were discussing was that, you know, we're not trying to knock modest fashion, because as you said, you know, the reason driving, you know, have so many brands in the industry is because it is needed. It is a service that is needed. But let us think outside the box.
Yes.
You know, we don't always have to concentrate on the end consumer. Look at the full value chain. You know, look at things like what Muslima Style Guide is doing, providing services for the vendors, the people who are creating the who have, you know, modest fashion brands, and the women who actually wear it, but then they don't know how to necessarily style it.
So you can serve in different ways.
You can serve in different ways.
Something else that I would love to highlight is the fact that as Muslims, we actually have an obligation to interact with everyone.
Yes.
It's not just interacting with Muslims.
Yes.
So one thing I love about my business is the fact that my consumers are wide-ranging. They're not sort of limited, and that gives me access to be a Muslim and be a representative of the deen amongst all sorts of people. So to your question about what you should do, as an individual, you would have to evaluate like your own purpose and how do you define that, and what is like a broad scope of options that you can explore in business.
The other great thing that I loved about Faridah's story is the fact that she started from educating herself. You know, she went for a course to learn about, was it business and agribusiness management, you know, and I think that that's another place that we, as Muslim women, sometimes we
overlook,
get it wrong.
Neglect.
Yes, we neglect. You know, let us take a step back and try to educate ourselves, you know, put in the work, do the research, and put the building blocks in place to find solutions to meaningful problems that the Ummah is facing. You know, in particular for people who are really passionate about being entrepreneurs. You know, being an entrepreneur is more than buying and selling. You have to be solving a meaningful problem. You have to be contributing. And you can only get to that point of, you know, truly offering that service by putting in the work and really going to your customers and seeing what is missing in the market. I think that's
and I must
so
add
important.
something. So education is an act of worship. You know, she talked about softer acts of worship. So there's so many things we do that we don't consider acts of worship, but they are. So the first step, she identified what she wanted to do, agribusiness. Then she went forward and educated herself. That education is an act of worship.
There's a saying which goes, imitation is the surest form of flattery. Like, do you feel a lot of people are imitating your Sari tea now?
I mean, so Sari Herbal Living has been live for about 6 months, maybe 7 months now. So I don't think there's been enough of an opportunity for imitation. I'm a human being, so if I see another brand come up that's doing what I'm doing, I'm going to be like, who's this one?
Who is this one?
Obviously, I'm going to feel, you know, I will feel that. It's the fun of entrepreneurship as well. It's very, the challenges are what drive a lot of entrepreneurs. You know, it's almost like, it's like a fix. You know, exactly, it's worth fighting for. So
tell us about Pan-Africanism. How are you pushing that narrative?
Yes. Okay. So I think with a lot of Africans, we like to be specific about where we're from and how we have different cultures, and which is true, of course. Like every African country has its own thing, but we Black people are the same. Okay, we have so much in common, and I genuinely believe that you're so much stronger as a unit than trying to fragment the continent. And the land is so rich, the people are so rich, there's so many resources. If we pool those resources, you know, there's just so much more to be gained, I feel, than, you know,
so the plan is to get herbs from different...
already I do. So in my teas, maybe about 70% is sourced in Nigeria. But I do have a couple of inputs that are from North Africa and from other parts of Sub-Saharan Africa as well. And, you know, inshallah, I plan to really spread that around. So it's like drinking Africa in a cup. That's my plan.
It's a very good word. Drinking Africa in a cup.
Basically.
After the break, Faridah will be joining us in the AIG kitchen where we will be brewing up some of her yummy teas. We can't wait to taste. Join us after the break.
Thousands of Muslims fast during the blessed month of Ramadan without eating a single meal. As little as 1,000 naira can feed a fasting person. It's not too early to donate towards our Ramadan feeding scheme. Feed the fasting and multiply your rewards. Brought to you by the Hal TV Dawa Initiative.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. We are having a tea party with our host Faridah.
Yes,
she has brought along 3 of her wonderfully handcrafted teas for us to taste. We can't wait. So tell us a bit about what we're about to...
Okay, so we have 3 flavors at the moment. There's lemongrass and ginger, which is self-explanatory, but it has a little bit of lemon in it as well. Then there's the spiced white hibiscus, which is one of my favorites because it's quite unusual. Like when most people taste it, it's like, ooh, this is different. So it's white hibiscus, which is white zobo. It's different from what we're used to, which is the red one. And then it has some cinnamon, some clove, and a little bit of pepper in it as well. And the last one is called Zesty Zogale. and zogale is Hausa for moringa. Oh, exactly. So it's moringa, and it has some lemon in it as well. Okay. So we have the lemongrass and ginger that has been brewing already now for about 10 minutes, and the zesty zogale as well. And then I'm just going to show you an onset brew of the spiced white hibiscus flavor. Okay. Great, and then you can try and tell me what you think. So for this amount of water, I would use 2 tea bags. The tea bags are fuller than what you're used to, like what you would usually find. Because they're handcrafted, we don't blend them, so they're quite full, big bags. So what I would ordinarily do, I'll take this off. Okay. And I will actually take this out as well.
So is this for if you had like loose
So this is
leaf?
if you had loose leaf, exactly. Okay. So we don't have that today, so it's not really necessary. So we'll just put these 2 tea bags inside, and it gives it's quite a nice reddish liquor. Give this a moment to steep. So while this is steeping, ideally I like to steep my teas for about 10 to 15 minutes before I drink them at all. So that allows the herbs to release the essential oils, which you lose when you have your teas ground down to a powder, what you're used to. So I let this usually steep 10 to 15 minutes. We won't do that long today. It was hopefully you can still get
color.
Exactly.
You're not missing in action here.
So you still get the flavor. But I would urge you to try it in another 15 minutes as well.
So for your teas, would you usually have it with honey or sugar or just like that?
So it's interesting. The lemongrass and ginger and the zesty zogale, I personally never put honey in them. I think they're so good on their own. Yeah. This is also good on its own, the spiced white hibiscus, but it's almost like unlocking new levels when you put honey in it. It's actually so good. So yes, I think I'm actually going to put some honey in this for you to try. Definitely worth it. And you can do this to taste. I mean, it depends on each individual, how much honey you actually like to have in it.
Awesome. Qowiyah, would you like some biscuits?
Yes, please.
I would like some biscuits. It goes really well with the tea.
I would like some tea.
We're waiting for this tea.
We're almost there. So what I'm going to do is I'll leave this to steep a little bit while you taste the other flavors.
Please.
Right, let me just put this bit of honey. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so I'll give you this.
So what do you typically eat with your teas? Do you have something to
So the thing is, I drink tea all day long. So I actually have a flask, a tea flask that I go around with, and because these teas you can actually brew multiple times because they're so rich. Okay, so this is the lemongrass and ginger. I know Oyinkan likes this flavor. Oyinkan is one of my first customers.
Qowiyah.
I have one.
Try this. Yeah, this is a very good digestive tea. So I usually try and drink this after my meals. Okay. Will you try it?
Yes, please.
Hello, old friend.
So I don't know how. So I personally, I don't drink teas really hot, but that's just me because I have very sensitive mouth. So I don't know if you can, if it's too hot to try, or you can try. What do you think?
It's really nice.
Yeah, it's really, so the ginger is good for digestion. That's what I love most about this particular one.
The lemongrass, the ginger, the lemon, you can taste everything.
Yeah.
And like you said, I brew mine 3 times.
Yeah. So the reason why they're handcrafted is that we put each ingredient one after the other in each tea bag. So you don't have a big drum of tea and we're just transferring it into, it's each one is handcrafted especially for you.
Beautiful.
So there you go.
Let's taste the next one.
Okay, so the next one is the zesty zogale.
Okay.
This one isn't so much a sweet tea. Okay. This is just really good for boosting your metabolism. It's really good for skin,
so when would you
for
typically
hair.
drink this?
First thing in the morning.
So
usually that's I start with this first thing in the morning and before bed as well. Nice. So this is more. See, it has more of a greenish liquor.
Moringa. Does this also aid digestion, or it's more?
It does, just because it's a superfood and it has lots of different benefits. But if you were looking for something to help with bloating, I would definitely recommend the lemongrass and ginger first First of all,
Very
herby.
Yes,
Exactly.
I feel like I'm drinking plants.
Exactly. Don't worry, I'm excited for you to try this one. It's just a different.
What do you think, Qowiyah?
I like it, but like you said, it's just like drinking plants.
So this one, I'll have you smell it before anything. You smell.
Smells heavenly.
Yeah.
Cinnamon. Smell.
I can really
Just
smell. I can smell the
tasting.
cinnamon.
Can you smell that?
Can I have again?
I can smell the cinnamon.
It's the cinnamon.
It's the cinnamon, yes.
I was like, oh, that's very familiar.
So this is another favorite.
So is your tea available at the supermarket now?
So
True.
it's not available in supermarkets yet. It should be.
So how can we order? How can our viewers order some Sari?
Yeah, so it's very easy to order. You can DM us on Instagram, you can call, you can WhatsApp, you can email, and if you go on the website as well, there's an order form.
Right.
So it's very easy. Like whatever way is most convenient for you. We get most of our orders via Instagram.
Okay.
So I find that
What's your
people like
handle?
to just shop at Sari Herbal Living.
Okay.
Very simple.
I really like this one.
Yeah.
With honey. First time
Oh
I'm
my
tasting
gosh,
it
guys.
with honey. First time I'm tasting
Oh my
with
gosh,
honey.
guys.
It's good.
The
Yes.
smell is just amazing.
So this is my mom's weekend tea. She won't even drink it during the week. She waits until it's like a Saturday
You don't
and
know what
she's
you're
just
missing,
chilling.
guys. This is
Yes.
good stuff. This is good stuff. This is literally like, I can imagine this like having this iced as a
Yes,
drink.
exactly. If you go on like our Instagram
Yummy.
profile, we have an iced tea tutorial as well. We call them tutorials.
Oh,
So you can see how to make like an iced tea with it as well.
this
Yeah,
is
it's
lovely.
really
I
good.
would
I really
definitely,
wish you would taste this.
honestly, it's really good.
I'm
Well,
not
you can
exaggerating.
actually.
Exactly.
You can
Yes.
taste this. If you go onto Instagram,
Yes.
Sari Herbal Living, and the website, you can order your pack of yummy handcrafted teas and taste some of this goodness.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna actually pour myself some because I've been
I need more too.
no
Press
worries.
you with your own product.
Please. There you go.
Thank you.
Would you like some more?
Yes, please.
I refilled mine already.
Thank you. Yeah, so you see, it's unusual. It's not like the regular teas that you are used to drinking.
Yes, I will definitely be throwing in some ice. I think this is my new replacement to juice. It's really good.
Oh, this is actually really good. It's like we put the right amount of honey.
honey
It's so
is
good.
perfect.
I love
It's
how we're
perfect.
wrapping up on this very happy
Yes.
and joyful
Yes.
note.
Yes.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I had such a lovely time.
Oh, yeah?
Thank you.
Any last words?
The only thing I have to say is thank you for this amazing tea.
And
Yes.
Zahra.
I'll say honestly, this is just an instant mood booster. So if you are looking for a pick me up, go no further than some Sari Herbal Living. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Alhamdulillah, it's Jummah. Join us next week for another amazing show. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
We hope you've enjoyed watching today's episode of AIJ. You can join the conversation online by following us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at HAL TV Africa. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page for more soul-inspiring content.
Oh, 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 oh.